Most of you have been asking me to talk about how European elections do work. So welcome to Diaspora Chronicles. This is where we're going to tell you what happens here in diaspora. So from the elections that has just been concluded on the 9th of this month, last Sunday, that's the European elections. I just wanted to take through a little bit on how European elections work. Most of you have been sending in SMSs telling me to talk about this, but today I got time for you. So remember, every 5 years, European Union citizens elect members of the European Parliament. So I found something very interesting. I made something interesting for you guys so that you can listen to it. Let me explain this. How are members of the European Parliament elected? So I will use the word MEPs, which represents the members of the European Parliament. Instead of saying the long word, I will be shortening it to MEPs. So remember, in Europe, European elections, citizens of European Union countries elect their representatives as members of the European Parliament, which is literally known as the MEPs. So voting in Europe elections. What are European elections? Why are they important? Let me just pose a question like that. Why are they important? So here it is. The European elections are one of the biggest democratic votes in the world, as we all know. And remember, in every 5 years, voters choose over 710 members. We're going to get the exact figure as I continue on, of the European Parliament, who will represent you, whoever is living here in Europe. So once elected, they sit in a political groups based on shared beliefs. The EU citizens can vote and stand for elections in their own country or the EU country they live in. Not Africa, but the EU country they live in. Italy, France, Germany, and name them, Belgium. You know them. So your vote decides how Parliament decides on the things that matter. So the economy, we're talking about the energy, we're talking about the climate, we're talking about so many other things, European places in the world. So by voting, you make your voice heard. You as a citizen, you help choose the European Parliament and you decide on the future. So democracy is here in action, and remember, the European Parliament is being made. So what is the European Parliament? What is the European Parliament? So the European Parliament is the world's only directly elected transitional assembly. The members of the European Parliament represent the interest of the EU citizen, EU as they always call it here in Germany, but in English, the EU citizens at the European level. So let's talk about what are the powers does the European Parliament have. So most of you should know, you should differentiate this. So we get the difference down there as we go on, but what are the powers does the European Parliamentary have? So together with the representatives of the governments of the EU countries, the MEPs, I know you remember what the MEPs is, shape and decide on the new laws that influence all aspects of life across the European Union, from supporting the economy and the fight against poverty to climate change and security. Of course. So the MEPs put important political, economic, and social topics, yes, in the spotlight and uphold actually the values of the European Union. Remember, respect of human rights, freedom, there's democracy, there's equality, and there's the rule of law. So Parliament approves the EU budget and scrutinizes how the money is being spent. Let's be clear on that. So it also elects the president of the European Commission, not the president of each country like Germany and France, but elects the president of the European Commission, appoints its commissioners, and holds them to account. Remember, this happens each and every time. So what are the roles of the parliament, of the members of the parliament, of the European Parliament, So what do they do? What do the MEPs do for you as a citizen? They are the link. Number one, they are the link to the decisions that shape the EU. All right? So you vote for them, which most of you voted on Sunday on the 9th. So you vote for them, then they vote for you in the European Parliament. So they are representing you, as we have heard from before. So that's where the MEPs work to protect your interests, improving and passing the laws that affect your daily lives. So the MEPs are to listen to people's concerns and act on them to consult with the civil servants, businesses, make sure everyone has a voice in the AU level, you as a citizen. So the MEPs are representing you. So, and remember, MEPs are to represent you, as we have said, and you choose by voting them in the European elections, which happens actually every 5 years. The last happened in 2019 and this 2024, which happened actually on the 9th of June, last week on Sunday. So we have seen everything that happens. So how often are European elections held? I've already told you about that. This is a question that was made. So let's move very swiftly and talk about the European elections. Are they common in all EU countries? This is a question that we really need to know. So it is up to each country to manage the elections. So France, Belgium, Germany, it's up to each country to manage the election, but there are some common principles that must apply in all these countries in where these elections are being done. There's something that is common. One, elections take place during a 4-day period from either a Thursday to Sunday. So it began on Thursday last week, so we are yet to know if it's over actually. So the number of the MEPs, you know what MEPs mean? From a political party is proportional to the number of votes it receives. Let me go back. The number of MEPs elected from a political party is proportional to the number of votes it receives. AU citizens resident in another AU country, so AU citizens in Germany and another AU citizens in Belgium, can vote and stand for elections there on their respective countries. So each citizen, remember, has to only vote once. So I cannot vote in Germany, then rush to Italy and vote again. So I can only vote once. And how are these members, or how many members, that's the European members, the members of the European Parliament, how many are they elected after the election is done? I told you before there's over 700. The exact figure is around a total of 720 members of parliament. But remember, this is 15 more to the compared. No, this is the 15 more. Let me take it again. It's around 700. But this time round in June 2024, they chose around 15 more members. So it's around 720, which is compared to the previous elections. So as a general rule, the number of members, the MEPs, is decided before each election. So this election is done, 2024. The next election, which is going to happen, they are going to decide again how many members are going to be there. So the total cannot exceed around 750 plus the president. How many members of how many MEPs does each country elect? How many members of European members does each country elect? So the number differs from each country. For example, I can give you a quick example. Germany has 96, France has 81, Italy has 76, Spain has 61, Poland had 53, Romania 33, Netherlands 31, Belgium 22, Greece 21, Czech Republic 21, Sweden 21, Portugal 21, Hungary 21, Austria 20, Bulgaria 17, Denmark 15, Finland 15, Slovakia 15 respectively, Ireland 14, Croatia 12, remember Lithuania 11, Slovenia 9, Estonia 7, Cyprus around 6, Luxembourg, which is around here 6, and Malta. So the number of MEPs elected from each AU country is agreed before each election and is based on the principle of digressive proportionality, which means each MEP from a larger country represents more people than a MEP from a smaller country. The minimum number of MEPs from any country is actually 6 and the maximum number is 96. Let me take something here. Do we really vote for our national parties or European parties? The answer is the elections are contested by national political parties, but once MEPs are elected, most opt to become part of the transitional political groups. So most national parties are affiliated to a European-wide political party. Let's get that right. And what are the political groups in the European Parliament? Here's where we need to understand. MEPs sit in a political groups based on shared ideas. Each group has a minimum of 23 MEPs from at least a quarter of the AU countries. There are 7 groups there are supposed to be 7 groups in a parliament. So let's take that. After the elections that was done on the 9th of this month, what happened next after the elections? So this is what you need to know. The elections, the elected MEPs work to form political groups at the first preliminary session from where all MEPs meet. The new parliament elects a president. In a subsequent session, Parliament will elect the new president of the European Commission. Yes, and later will examine and approve the entire colleague of commissioners. So you know what happens. So let me give you the difference between the European Parliament, the Council, and the European Commission. Let me get that clear. Let me give you a difference between the European Parliament, the Council, and the European Commission. The European Commission is the EU's executive branch. Is the EU's executive branch responsible for proposing and implementing EU law and the day-to-day running of the EU. The EU, as they always say it in the German language. So the European Parliament representing the interests of EU citizens, and the Council representing the interests of the countries. We get it? Shape commissions proposals, and if they agree on them, adopt them. I think I should repeat that. Let me start from the European Parliament representing the interest of the EU citizen, and the Council representing the interest of the countries. Shape commission proposals, and if they agree on them, adopt them. I'm very sure I've answered most of your questions. This is Radio RFM, home of African music. Keep it here, keep it locked, and stay tuned for more. Remember to subscribe our YouTube channel, that is Radio RFM, home of African music. Don't go away, there's more coming up next.